Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with great recordings you've never heard of. Really wonderful, wonderful recordings of music that may be a little bit unusual, or that's coupled unusually, or that it just doesn't get the kind of attention it really deserves, especially for you, music lovers, who really have no prejudice where things like that are concerned. Right? Am I right? Of course I'm right. And it's this one. Amazing Cello Sonatas by Chopin and Alkan. Now, Chopin and Alkan were, of course, two of the great piano virtuosi composers of the mid-19th century. And both of them wrote individual cello sonatas, which are really, really undervalued. Now, the Alkan was only rediscovered, basically, in the past 20 or 30 years, but the Chopin's been kicking around for basically forever. And people still don't pay much attention to it. There are a lot of reasons for that. Number one is that, of course, Chopin is known only for writing piano music, or a couple concertos, basically. Number two, he wasn't known as someone who was confident writing works in large classical forms, such as sonatas. But the fact of the matter is most of his sonatas are wonderful. I mean, okay, the concertos are maybe a little creaky in spots, but this is a late work. I mean, this is his Opus 65, the cello sonata in G minor, and he knew exactly what he was doing. The third thing is that cello sonatas themselves are a little bit outre, especially even in the world of chamber music, because, well, there are a lot of wonderful cellists, but you don't see them giving like solo recital things as frequently as like string quartets or violinists or pianists or, people like that. So, cello sonatas, a big program of cello sonatas, they're all kind of, low pitched and, things are they're actually not actually. The cello has a huge range in registers, but, you sort of its reputation as a bass instrument. And so people just don't pay them much mind. But it is Chopin's late masterpiece in large classical forms, and a perfectly wonderful work that really deserves to be known. And it sounds just like vintage Chopin from first note to end, to the end. And the writing for the cello is completely confident and beautiful, and it's lovely. Now, Alkan. Alkan has been rediscovered only in the past 50 years or so. He was an extraordinary piano virtuoso. Apparently, his playing made Liszt nervous. And a wonderful composer, a composer of really fabulous, romantic, eccentric, crazy piano music that is so difficult that for a long time it was considered to be virtually unplayable. And that was really the issue with Alkan until Ronald Smith got his hands on it and showed us how wonderful all the stuff was. And that was, I think, in the 80s. I mean, really, it's a recent phenom. I mean, his music was all published in his lifetime, and he was a recluse and an extraordinary guy. He was Jewish. That didn't help. I mean, all of those things sort of counted against him. But now his music is back in more or less in the mainstream, at least of the best virtuosi, who can always do amazing things with it. And his cello sonata is wacky. I mean, it is something special. Let me tell you. First of all, it's a big work. I don't 35 minutes. It's about 6 minutes longer than Chopin's, and the ending, the last movement, is a prestissimo saltarello. Saltarello is like a tarantella. It is almost impossible to play, particularly for the cellist, because it's mostly in the lower register where it's kind of grindy and strange sounding. I mean, it's a really eccentric piece of music, and it rises to a completely demented climax. And it really, the whole piece is like that. It has a gorgeous slow movement, by the way, absolutely lovely, which shows Alkan to be, or Alkan, pardon me. I mean, Alkan rhymes with the dog food, right? Calcan. To be a vibratist. He used the term vibrato in his string and piano writing, actually, which is rather helpful. But beyond that, it is an astonishing, remarkable piece of music that once heard is unforgettable. I mean, I can't get the finale out of my head. I keep going dump it up and up and up and I mean, I only heard it once for the first time. After that, I was hooked. But there have never been many recordings of it because it takes amazing pianism. I mean, you need a real virtuoso pianist, and you need an amazing cellist who's willing to let the pianist do his thing and then take center stage when necessary, and also sort of grind away at that finale. I mean, it's really a virtuoso piece in every respect, and just this side of insanity. So anyway, these performances are marvelous. The performances are with Alban Gebhardt cello and Stephen Osborne, the wonderful Stephen Osborne on the piano, on Hyperion. And it's just a great record. I mean, just a great record. I raved about it when it came out. All my friends loved it. We all talked about it, and then everybody just ignored it because I mean, it's two cello sonatas by composers not known for their works in large classical forms. And that's why it gets neglected and nobody knows about it. But if we don't talk about these things regularly, and I have talked about this before, who is going to, spread the word? How are we ever going to know? And you're going to be missing such a wonderful, beautiful musical experience. So do give this a shot. It will really surprise you. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.